Hello, everybody. Welcome to It Was Tuesday with your host, a very tired, sleepy, and insomniatic host, James Chen, A.K.I. J. Chenzor. If you see my face glaze over a couple of times, I apologize. Been very tired. It's just been a weird. I haven't been able to sleep, so I apologize. But here we go. We are live and we are rocking here, and we are going to talk about a couple of these things over here. Mostly now that Aki's been out for a little bit, and I've actually been playing a lot of Aki online. Just kind of wanted to give my early thoughts about Aki and where she's going to fall in the meta. I am really low. Let's raise my chair. There we go. And then we're actually going to do some more match analysis. I know the Snake Eyes JP, the Snake Eyes Reynolds match was really popular, and people have asked me to analyze stuff. I know this one's a little bit behind the meta here, but still something that I want to look into, which is basically how Oniki fought Fujimura with Kim versus Ken in the first Japan World Warrior and managed to defeat him in grand finals, especially someone of Fujimura's level of talent. This one was requested by some people, as well as I just figured it would be useful for me because I have so much trouble beating Ken with Kim. But let's actually talk about Aki, shall we? So let's start with this first. Over here, if you are on YouTube and looking for the analysis here, definitely check YouTube in a day or two and it should jump up there onto the stream. But let's talk about Aki. So Aki has come out here in Street Fighter 6, the second DLC character to show up to the game. And with Rashid, I was really impressed with how he just kind of dropped in and seemed like he just worked. I mean, obviously there was a bug or two, that's going to happen. But the character, came in there and he's not insignificant. Like, he has the ability to win. He has some people consider him to be very strong. Some people consider him to be okay. But I feel like that's like the perfect spot to land, right? Because a lot of times in the history of fighting games, DLC comes out, they're usually super busted or they're completely useless. So, Aki has dropped, and I definitely had a lot of personal interest in using the character. And so I have actually put in a lot of time with her. So, Rashid, I can basically tell you like, oh yeah, I feel like, et cetera, et cetera. But with Aki now, I actually feel like I have a pretty decent grasp with how she plays. I'll probably keep playing her a little bit more just for fun. But right now, when we saw the initial trailers and everything like that, my impressions were that she seemed like she was going to be pretty strong, but, I was worried about a couple of things, right? Like, we really didn't get to see the quality of her drive rush. We really didn't get to see what kind of frame data was on her normals. And then, most importantly, even in the character guide, we saw that her only escape option, which is the command dash, basically quarter circle forward plus kick, the slide on the floor, was only strike invul but not throw invul. So I had some early concerns about how strong Aki is going to be. So honestly, I don't feel like she's going to shake up the meta all that much. And in fact, my initial impressions of Aki were that I felt like she was probably going to end up a little bit on the weaker side. And while this character is strong and has the ability to win, basically in that one balance episode, I said, it's important that the characters always have the ability to win. I do feel like my initial thoughts of her are mostly on par. Like, I feel like they're mostly correct right now. I do think this character has a lot of juice. I think that once you get used to her, she's a very complex character. Like, interestingly enough, like, you have to remember, is your opponent poisoned right now? Did you forget to did you set up a trade thing? The trade thing erases your poison. And, in a weird way, she actually feels a lot like Johnny from Guilty Gear, which might be one of the reasons that, there's something about her that makes it so that I feel like, there is a little familiarity with her, because Johnny was all about landing coins and then landing the Mistfinder, right? And that's how you got the damage. And with Aki, she's about landing the poison and then finding a way to convert that into bigger damage. She's a really similar character in that she is going to sacrifice damage on the first combo to set up damage on the next combo. That's kind of tough. That's kind of rough in a game where a lot of characters can delete you straight up with just their first hit. Yeah, the poison damage, Just Joe says in the chat, the poison damage is negligible. It's the follow-up that matters. It is negligible. It isn't negligible. I mean, it does add up, but you're right. It's the Toxic Blossom that really, makes the poison tick. And so, oh, cool. Super Kokojin says it's really cool getting your history lesson why Aki creeped you out. What, you mean like the lack of personal space? Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, that is one of the things. It's just like, dude, stay away. But I feel like, she does lose. She has a lot of a momentum loss on that, right? The nice thing that they did was that they made her up Serpent Lash, the basically the whip, the claw, basically. Really, really a good combo tool. It's an interesting combo tool, like that you use the upward stabby thing as the combos, but afterwards you have like a bunch of options to blow up your opponent. So, she gets a really good frame advantage, in other words. So she can set up true meaty throws. She can set up true meaty command throws. She can set up true meaties, etc., etc. So she's got a lot of really cool setups after that. And if it wasn't for that, I feel like she would actually be completely messed up. Wait a second. Why is this still talking about balance at the bottom of my screen? Hang on a second. James has been playing her a lot. What are his early thoughts? There we go. Whoops. Okay, anyways, Aki gives you recool Elbath vibes, bubble traps, poison. Interesting. Yeah, so her Oki game is pretty decent, but again, one of the tough things about it is when she hits you with that and poisons you, because the poison is slightly negligible, a lot of times it's almost worth just taking the throw afterwards, right? Not trying to do anything crazy. Because here's the thing, right? I mean, the nice thing about it is if you do take the throw, instead of 1,200 damage, you're essentially getting 1,700 damage for the throw because of the poison added on to everything. So that does make it kind of crappy. The problem is that if she actually gets you, with the combo, she's going to do a lot more damage than that, take you into the corner and put you in some really awkward positions. And so I feel like one of Aki's weaknesses is that her overhead is very weak. Her overhead is very, very weak, and that there's just so many frames of startup on that thing, and it's really hard for her to, outside of the corner, to be able to get it meaty enough to combo off of. Now in the corner she's got some sick meaty setups with it, but mid-screen, it's really, really hard outside of drive rush and just do the overhead raw, which can be a little bit tricky as well. But That's not where I think her biggest weakness is. The reason why, well, so Peter0611 says her normals put me off. And yeah, for sure the her normals are an issue as well. Her longest range button is her standing medium kick. I mean, she's got longer range buttons, but I just mean in terms of general poke, right? Because like in this game, everybody has that great general poke, which for most characters happens to be their crouching medium kick. I feel like every character in this game has a button like that, right? And so for most characters, it's crouching medium kick. For Kimberly, it's her standing medium kick. For Aki, it's also her standing medium kick. Is faster button has about the same range as all of those crouching medium kick pokes, right? So Jury, Ken, Blanca, etc. Luke, Kimberly standing medium kick, all those crouching medium kicks and Kimberly standing medium kick all have basically the same range, like essentially the same range. Like there's differences, but by pixels, right? Even though Jury's crouching medium kick looks like it reaches 10 times farther than anyone else's, it's about the same range as most of these buttons here. And Aki's standing medium kick is the same. However, Aki's medium kick is 9-frame startup, and Kim's, as a reference, is 8-frame startup. And then most people's crouching medium kicks are 8 frames, where Ken has a blessed 7-frame crouching medium kick. Why, I don't know. But the thing about Aki though is her standing medium kick is not bufferable. So as a great poke, you don't really get much off of it if you hit. Unless you get a punish counter, you can try to do stuff off of it. But outside of that, it's not the greatest of buttons. It is good because it is a plus on hit, which is really nice. It's a safe button on block. Is that one plus on block? I can't remember now. I think her standing medium kick is plus on block. That's her combo button. I have to double check because, yeah, I'll have to double check. But it does link into other buttons. It's +6 on hit, so it gets you really good combos off of it. So for that kind of poke to be plus is actually really nice, but having it be plus is more useful at point blank ranges. And so the fact that it's 9 frames is actually kind of a bummer for that, because then it's really kind of hard to set up in that way. Now, having said all that, little weaknesses here, but, she's got amazing Oki. Aki has Oki, especially in the corner. She's terrifying in the corner. I when I did my recent 3-month tier list, I couldn't put any character without an OD wake up into the top. I just feel like in this game, it requires so much to have an OD wake up in order to be strong in this game. We're starting to see the Dalsums do work. Marisa obviously is strong. Kimberly is obviously strong. Honda has the potential to do some damage as well. But their biggest weaknesses is that they all don't have any OD wake-ups that cover both meaty attacks and meaty throws, right? So Marisa, Honda, Kim, yeah, you could just meaty throw them all day. And there's basically nothing they can do about it outside of like level 3 supers. And in Marisa's case, she needs a level 2 or a 3 super. Aki has the same problem. Her only escape is the command dash, OD command dash, which is an invul to strikes, but it is susceptible to throws the entire time. So you can actually just throw loop Aki to death in the corner. And if you're one of the characters who can get throw looped in the corner to death and you don't have an OD wake up, it's such a liability. It's why I feel like those characters like Dalsum and Kimberly and Aki and Marisa can never be truly in that top tier. I feel like you have to have that option so that the opponent has to at least think about it, so that every once in a while they'll walk backwards trying to bait it and then you don't do it and you can get away for free by jumping out of the corner or something. But I really, really feel like that Aki just, because she doesn't have that, she's going to get rushed down to death at the highest levels. Cammy, Luke, Ken, Jury, the standard trope of characters over here are just going to put you in the corner and destroy you. And so I really, really just don't feel like she has the potential, the ability to be one of the top tiers in this game. And I think that's a shame, honestly, because at this point, I truly believe that everybody deserves to have, even if it's not one move, at least one move that's anti-throw and one move that's anti-strike, just to keep the opponent guessing, right? So if Honda, for example, his anti-strike is his EX headbutt because it's got armor. But if he could have, for example, the butt slam be throw immune on the first frame, then at least he's got, he has to make the guess, but at least he has the option to beat throws. Because if you don't have an OD move that beats throws, your only options are tech, jump, or backdash. Like literally those are your only three options, and all of them are such huge risks, like massive risks. Like all of them practically died to like delayed button press, except for jumping. But jumping, if they do a meaty, you just get hit and like stuff sucks. So having an extra anti-throw option that's not a throw tech, I think is really important. And unfortunately, because A.K.I doesn't have it, I don't think A.K.I is going to be top tier. Are we going to see some A.K.Is do damage in tournaments? Absolutely. Hibiki the Great, we've been talking about tiers and balances and who's the worst character and everything. Hibiki the Great, the best Lily player on the planet, just won an extremely stacked Japanese tournament with Lily. So clearly she has the ability to win. We've talked about Snake Eyes winning World Warrior West already. Many times about Zangief. A.K.I is certainly stronger than Lily and Zangief and Ryu and Jamie and Manon, right? Like she's clearly, I think, in a tier above them. So I would, like, if you based on the tier list that I made before, I would probably put her, in the same tier as I would, probably be Marisa. Then I have Dalsum, maybe. Dalsum or Kimberly. The Dalsums are coming, by the way. So it's Marisa, Dalsum, Kimberly, Honda. That was that tier that I had, and I would put A.K.I right in there. Now, having said all this, I am going to say I think A.K.I is one of the coolest characters. She's so cool. Like, honestly, like the animations, the little touches, the small things that they did with her. She started off being very creepy and like everyone's like, oh my God, she's so evil. Oh my gosh, Jury is now not the most evil character in the game. Oh, look at her. And, you play the game and there's like, she's got this really crazy, tragic backstory. I think Nakayama-san has kind of hinted pseudo officially that she's actually Phantom, who was a character that was in an old story post about Fang in Street Fighter V, that she was actually the kid that he found on the streets that he became intrigued with. And while he has basically no romantic interests in her, she's obsessed with him. And she even says things in story mode, shout outs to Olaf for letting me know about these things, where she actually kind of knows that she's a Harley Quinn, I should say, to a Joker, basically. Like, Fang could just dump me at any time, whatever. Like, not dump me as in dating, but like literally just kick me off the gang or just stop caring about me. And she's like, but I don't care because I'm in love. I'm like, I love this guy. He saved me, all this stuff. And, like her taunt where she actually makes the Fang bubble and she's all, ah! And then if you pop the bubble, she gets mad. Like, it's weird that her personality is actually really fleshed out well. Like, her storyline is good. Like, her personality is really good. Her animations are remarkable. The taunts, the win poses, like everything she does is fantastic. I mean, I think she might be, one of the most nicely like character design characters, in the entire game. And that's a big, huge compliment because honestly, Street Fighter 6 has been killing it with their new characters, right? JP is awesome. Manon is awesome. Marisa is awesome, right? Jamie's awesome. Like, they did such a good job with their new characters. Obviously, I love Kimberly to death. So I'm so pleased with what they're doing with the game. And I'm just so happy about Aki right now. So like I said, I've been playing her a lot. They placement me into Platinum. I've managed to get to Diamond with her. Still have a lot of terrible muscle memory problems with her. In that every time something happens, I'm like, shoot, I'm supposed to do this, and I keep forgetting. But yeah, yeah, like KC says in the chat, Aki is one of the best designs of the new character. She's super, super good. And yeah, she has a good anti-air. Her crouching heavy kick and her standing heavy kick. Her standing heavy kick, if you're ready for the jump, is amazing as an early anti-air. But her crouching heavy kick is really good for a late anti-air, although I have seen it get beat by really good jump attacks. So Two Hollow jokes that ignoring Lily and Luke, what have you got against characters starting with L? All I'll say is that I really like Luke's design here a lot more than 5, but he feels less like a new character because he was in 5. And people already know how I feel about Lily, okay? So we'll just skip that right there. So no, Lily is probably my least favorite design. If she actually looked like she was 18 years old, I think I would actually like Lily a lot more. But I've just generally never liked the little girl characters in fighting games, right? I really never liked May in Guilty Gear, for example. There's just something about that's just weirdly off-putting to me to like put that kind of character in this game where everybody is beating the crap out of each other. Look, Buletta is an evil demon, okay? She's an evil demon. So whatever, like for her, whatever, you know, she's not like, hi, I'm a little girl. Like she's just literally like, you see the sharp teeth and the evil eyes and she's shooting machine guns at you and hurling grenades at you. And then when she wins, she calls in her agent and yeah, you know, so it's like, whatever. You know, I never even really liked Sakura. You know, even when Sakura debuted in Alpha 2 and everyone's like, oh my god, I love Sakura, and she became one of the most popular Street Fighter characters, I have never liked Sakura. Like, there's nothing about that character that has ever appealed to me. Like, I've never considered her one of my, like, I like this character, she's cool. Like, I just look at her and I'm like, ugh, whatever. I just never cared about Sakura, honestly. So yeah, Lily's a whole nother story, but like I said, I've already gone over that in the past. So, but I think Aki is amazing. I think she's really, really, really cool. I'm so happy with what they did. It helps that, you know, someone that I've known for over a decade voices the character too. That makes me extremely happy for Faye because obviously she's someone I've known, and you know, even when I knew her a long time ago, there wasn't really any aspirations for voice acting, and the fact that she went that path and she loved fighting games back then, and so the fact that she actually voices an official Street Fighter character, I think is really, really cool. So, but yeah, like everything about Aki, I feel like just falls into place really, really well in terms of design and aesthetics. How she's going to be in the game, I mean, Nemo seems to really enjoy her. There seems to be a lot of people out there. I know Mono is going to try to put in work with her. Talk to some other people saying that Aki is the first character that's really spoken to them in Street Fighter 6. So I expect to see a lot of Akis. Like, it's shocking to me how few Rashids that we've gotten since his drop. But I don't think that's going to happen with Aki. I think there's going to be so many Akis out there to play. So, you know, it's not going to be long before she wins her first big tournament, in my opinion. Does that mean I think she's great? Like I said, you know, in my video about Zangief, just because you win a tournament doesn't mean that you're top tier. You can still be a weaker character and win these tournaments, right? Like I said, I have her in the same tier as Kimberly, and I'm going to analyze a tournament that Kimberly won. I use Kimberly. I think people underrate Kimberly horribly. And yet at the same time, I'm not going to put her in top tier or anything like that because she's missing that OD wake up. But I still think she's really strong. So I think Aki is going to be in that same kind of area, to be honest with you. Look, that mean scene, I have said this on Twitter. Like, the way that they made Rashid, a character that I really didn't care about that much in Street Fighter V, and then the way they made Aki, if the Street Fighter 6 team can make me actually interested and like Ed, they are the GOATs for sure. Because Ed is like extremely uninteresting to me, right? He's got a weird backstory. Little kid that Balrog finds, and then Balrog adopts him, but he's infused with psycho power, so now he's half bison and half boxer. He's like some basically like evil version of Rock Howard, He's like the weird fusion of two different styles, because someone else adopted him or something. Like, I don't know, like, and then he just wasn't interesting to me in 5 at all. The play style, the control scheme, and all that stuff. And then he just became the psycho flicker monster of death. And so, like, for me, I'm just like, whatever. But if the way that they've made the characters, I think Rashid is super cool. I think Aki is super cool. Hell, a lot of the returning characters are cool. Like I said, they made Luke a lot cooler than he was in 5. So if they can make Ed appealing to me, more power to them. And like I said, I will proclaim the Street Fighter 6 design team the GOATs forever. I will declare them the GOATs forever because, like I said, I'm just not interested in that character very much at all. So... But Aki does have a lot of cool things. She's fun to play. She's very awkward. So that's kind of one of the things I want to say here. I talked about, how strong I think she is just in terms of her play style. I think she's very awkward, right? She's designed to be awkward, right? She's got the sweep on crouching heavy punch, and, she's just got this coward crouch, mechanic, and, her buttons are weirdly slow. Her anti-air is crouching heavy kick, and it's just, she's a very awkward character, and I don't think she's an easy character to learn. I think she's very difficult to pull off, especially by the fact that I feel like her neutral, it's hard to figure out what to do with her neutral. Honestly, like, you stand there in neutral and you're like, what am I supposed to do? Like, my pokes aren't really that great and stuff, but she actually is kind of more Dulcim-esque, in which she's kind of a reactive character. You're really just trying to see what your opponent's going to do. And if you need to get in, then it really kind of is about bubble, drive rush, raw drive rush, that kind of thing. And then I'm probably way too obsessed with her cross up 2 HP, her jumping down and heavy punch. Like, that's my way in on everybody. So I just keep trying to get in your face so that I can jump over you and hit you with that. But her jump is really good. Her jumping heavy punch is really good. She can get away with jumps a lot easier than other characters can. However, if you're fighting against people who have really good anti-air reactions, it's only going to get you so far. But honestly, she's a very hard character to use. I think she's very unorthodox, and you cannot use her particularly like a lot of the other Street Fighter 6 characters. Her drive rush is not a very good drive rush. In fact, most of her moves actually kill her momentum more so than other characters. Like, her drive rush standing heavy kick, like, most characters, heavy punches and heavy kicks, like, don't kill momentum of drive rush. They just slide forward and you hit their buttons and they just keep sliding. But, as good of a button as Aki's standing heavy kick is, it actually kills her momentum when she drive rushes into it. So it's hard to just kind of launch yourself into people. Her drive rush crouching medium kick is a fairly strong button, but same kind of thing. It kills momentum. It's really hard to combo off of it because a lot of times you're just outside of the range of follow-up buttons because she doesn't go very far with her drive rush. So, coupled with the fact that she has no OD wake up and the fact that her drive rush, I think, is one of the weaker drive rushes in the game, I think she's very awkward, and she's not a zoner, and she's not a rushdown character. Like I said, I feel like I would compare her most to Dalsum. Like Dalsum, although has rushdown and zoning, Dalsum is mostly a reactive kind of character, right? He's less proactive. He's just reactive by, okay, I'm gonna throw a fireball, see what you do, and just kind of take advantage of that kind of situation. I feel like Aki's similar. You're not really proactively trying to be aggressive and kill people. You're really kind of just testing them, poking at them, being annoying. Because heavy kick into coward crouch obviously is a very powerful sequence because the follow-up kicks are safe on block and they're a frame trap. And she's got this throw for people who are, basically learning to just block so they don't get frame trapped. However, it is very option selectable. You can actually, every time you block her heavy kick and you see her go into coward crouch, you can wait a few frames and then hit the button. Because that way, if they do the coward crouch kicks, you'll block it, and that eats your input. And if they try to go for the throw, you'll jab them. It's very option selectable. Now, Aki can delay her kicks so that she catches your delay timing very hard. There's a lot of manual timing there, and you just have to know your opponent. It's like Street Fighter 4 when you were trying to frame trap crouch techers, basically. So it's a very similar kind of situation with Aki in that way. And so again, I don't find her offense particularly strong. It's just mostly trying to pester, be annoying, and then get them to make the mistake so that you can sneak in and get the up serpent lash into one of her mix-ups afterwards. Really, the crux of Aki's game is finding a way to land up serpent lash and then using one of like 19 different frame kills that she has after a heavy serpent lash. And in the corner, it's the most potent there. But she's got like all these different ways to like sneak in and stuff after that because she's so plus. She can actually get 2 dashes, and her dash is slow at 19 frames. So you're like 38 frames dashing and can still get a meaty 9 frame standing medium kick on the opponent. So after HP Serpent Lash, I think you're plus like 43 or something. So you have a lot of time, and what that does is it creates a lot of different things. So she can do raw, medium, command dash into meaty throw, or the standing heavy kick as a meaty option there. She can do immediate drive rush into coward crouch into throw, which becomes a true meaty there. She can double dash into stand medium kick in the corner. She can actually get safe jump automatically off of her jumping, just hold up forward. You can also dash into overhead, and then that's a perfect meaty into stand jab jab, stuff like that. She's got a lot of options after that heavy serpent lash. So that, to me, is Aki's game. You're playing this kind of pseudo-neutral to see what the enemy is going to do until you find some way, whether it's by raw drive rush, jumping behind them with jump down 2 HP, finding a way in with the frame trap off of the coward crouch into the heavy kick into the kick follow-ups off of standing heavy kick. All those things lead to the heavy serpent lash, and then from there is what you have to do. So if you're trying to learn Aki, that's my recommendation, is learn all of the crazy things you can do after heavy serpent lash, and then keep mixing those up to have your opponents have a hard time reading what it is that you're going to do, honestly. So that's kind of where I am with Aki at this point. Her standing medium punch has no range at all. Peter 0611 says her standing medium punch is deceptively short. Like, it's short. Like, it's a Street Fighter 5 button. Let's just put it that way. Like, Street Fighter 6 buttons are notorious for reaching way farther than I remember because I'm so used to Street Fighter 5 right now. But her standing medium punch is a Street Fighter 5 button. It's a button that looks like it should hit farther, but it just doesn't go anywhere. She even like steps forward and does like a spin, like a guile back fist kind of thing. And it's just like, yoink, and it just misses everything. It's so sad, dude. Oh, man. So, but Yep. I think like I said, it's not going to take long for Aki to win a tournament. Someone's going to win a tournament with her, whether it's going to be Nemo or somebody, because a lot of people are really enjoying this character, and a lot of people, because of that personality that she has, a lot of people are finding very strong attachments with this character. And that's always going to be one of the most crucial things, right? Like I said, I'm not going to be the guy that's going to be like, well, Snake Eyes won with Zangief, but imagine if he played Ken. No, because Snake Eyes and Zangief are like buddies, right? Like he just has that Zangief mentality, and if he plays Zangief, like it's hard to explain, but like when you play a character you care about, you just play better and you try harder. And so, a lot of people out there have really found that they've enjoyed Aki a lot. And a lot of them, because she is awkward, right? They like having a character that's just not low forward drive rush the character like a lot of other characters are. So I think a lot of people are enjoying how different she is and how awkward she is. And that's great. I'm really glad Capcom put in a character, because Rashid, as stubby as his moves are, he's still fairly Street Fighter 6. Like, he feels like he's Street Fighter 6 in a way. Like, okay, his crouching medium kick is going to be really good, and he's got really good mix-ups when he knocks you down, etc., etc. His neutral, although his buttons are stubby, he's still going to be kind of playing 6 a little bit. But Aki is just completely a different story. So I don't think it's going to take long for her to win a tournament. Do I think she's going to be top tier? No. I just don't see it. And again, that's solely based off of the fact that she has no OD wake up, because I just think that's too much of a weakness right now in Street Fighter 6. If you do not have an OD wake up, and like you're fighting Ken, when Ken gets you in the corner, you have to be scared of crouching medium kick, standing heavy punch shimmy, dragon lashes, Jin rise, drive impacts, raw drive rush, a jump, cancels into drive rush, cancels into Jin rise, cancels into dragon lashes. If you get punish counter by standing heavy punch, his crouching medium kick still hits. Like, when you're in the corner, there's too much to think about. And to not have one option blow up like 60 to 70% of those options, so that, you can keep the game a little bit simpler, is too damaging to a kit, in my ability. Yeah, I mentioned that. I don't think her drive rush is particular. Oh, her drive reversal or drive rush. Which one do you mean, Forrest? God, that's the way it works. But yeah, I think that's just going to hold her back a little bit too much from being one of the best. Yeah, her drive rush, I talked about that earlier. I don't think her drive rush is particularly strong. So I don't think that's going to help her all that much. So that's my thoughts. That's my early, like week 1, week 2 thoughts of Aki. Did she only come out a week ago? I feel like I've been playing a lot of Aki, so it feels like she's been out for like 2 weeks. Yeah, she only came out like last week, so there you go. Okay, so it really only has been a week. I played so much Aki, I feel like she's been out for so long now. But that's my week 1 thoughts of Aki. I think she is going to be good in the right hands. Like I said, Dalsum players are winning. Itsuki just won a tournament. Was it Itsuki? Was it Itsuki that won the Rev Major? I think he won, and F Champ got 3rd place with Dalsum and Honda. But I think Itsuki won Rev Major with Dalsum. So the Dalsums are coming. The Dalsums are coming. But like I said, the Kimberlys, like Kimberly right now is doing damage in ICFC EU. And we're seeing a lot more Kimberlys take form as well. So she's going to be really strong. And we already know how good Marisa is. But I think Aki is right there with all those characters. So I suspect we're going to see some very strong Aki play out there. And I'm excited for that. And I'm really happy for that. Because, again, I feel like she came out in a really, really good spot. I feel like she came out in a really, really good spot where she has a lot of juice, but she's not too strong. I think she could be a little stronger, but again, time will tell. So, all right. Alrighty then. I'm gonna go ahead and call it an end on the Aki Talk here, unless anybody else, the Aki Taki, on the Aki Taki over here, unless other people have other questions about Aki they want to ask over here in the chat. But if you guys are watching on YouTube, keep an eye out for my analysis on Kimberly versus Ken coming up over here. And yeah, really, really excited about you know, to see if they could actually make me like Ed. If they could actually make me care about Ed, we are getting somewhere with Street Fighter 6. So, but there you go. Thank you guys for watching here on YouTube. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you guys think of Aki. And if you do think she needs any buffs or even any nerfs, how would you fix Aki? But outside of that, go ahead and look out for this analysis coming up sometime soon. Those of you here on Twitch, stick around for that analysis. But thank you guys for tuning in, YouTube. And please make sure you like and subscribe. Please continue to let me know if you're enjoying my content out there. And please comment for the algorithm. So thank you guys. And the day that this podcast graced your ears was the most important day of your life. But for me,
it was Tuesday.